help not only on me because I don't like to, or I don't feel comfortable backing up my bike, but for shorter riders who can't touch all that well, backing your bike up is impossible. So why not have another option to put in your tool belt? Why not be able to just go forward all the time? Wouldn't it be great if I had some options, right? Wouldn't it be great if I could do a right-hand turn 90 degrees straight up, looking where I'm going first, and not go into an oncoming car? We're going to give you a choice here. This is an option to put in your tool belt so that you know what you're doing on the road, you're confident with it, and you can pull out of and into tight spaces. This is the alleyway for coming into exercise 4. So we come in with the bikes through here, and we go through here, and these cones are high because what we're doing is we're having ourselves become aware of the bike and what it can get by. So we're looking for clearance on our bags on our bike, so we want to be aware of where our bike is and how wide it is and what it can clear when we're certainly at gas stations, because they have those big humps that you have to go around to get gas, and other places. So you want to make sure that you're aware of every part of your motorcycle and that it's clearing things. When we come through here, the first time we come through is we take a left-hand turn, head and eyes pointing that way, and we come through this aisle and right through and out. And when we're doing that, we're focusing on keeping the bike upright, going as slow as we can go, covering the rear brake just gently. So we're dragging it. When we go through the first time, we're going to go straight through. And in straight through, that means we're going to keep our head and eyes forward until we get almost to the turn. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn our head and eyes first towards the camera and then the handlebars. We're going to keep the bike straight up. We're going to drag the rear brake, and we're going to go as slow as we can possibly go with no lean at all. So that's the objective of this. I will put the dimensions down below in the description so you can see the size of this course that we're doing here for left and right turns. As I said, the first time we go straight through. The second time, what we're doing is we're working on leveling up some of these drills. And that means we're going to not drag the rear brake. We're going to not use the rear brake so that we can literally use the clutch control the whole way through. It's just another refinement on your clutch control. It's not like you use that out on the road, but it does really help you improve your clutch control a little bit more. The third time we go through, we bring the bike up to a stop, and you can stop anywhere in this line here. But what we're doing is we're bringing the bike closer to this cone on the inside. So we call that the inside cone. And what we're doing is we're making sure we can clear the bike and the bags and the bag guard and not hit the cone. And then the fourth time we go through, we bring the bike in the center again, and we bring it across this white line. So we're all the way across the white line, head and eyes again, turn the handlebars. It does help if you turn the handlebars first before you get going, and then we do it from a stop. So we're over the white line, we turn the handlebars, and then we smooth ride all the way to a smooth stop at the end. So there's four different combinations of exercise here. And all we're doing is just trying to level it up a little bit more each time. And we'll be talking more when we're doing the exercise, so you'll hear more about that then. This exercise is still done at 1 to 2 miles an hour, just like the slow ride. It's also done straight up. So we're not leaning in this exercise at all. The reason that we want to be able to do a right or a left turn straight up on our bike at slow speeds is because sometimes we're on gravel or we're on dirt or we're on something unsteady for our motorcycle, and we don't want that front wheel to slip out. So any kind of lean on a turn is gonna dump you over if you're on an unstable foundation. We're gonna do the first time through dragging the rear brake. So that's where you should stay if you are new to this exercise. So we're gonna slow ride up to the cones. We're gonna turn our head and eyes to the left when we're turning left. We're gonna turn our head and eyes to the right when we're turning right as we approach the cone. Then we're gonna turn the handlebars as we clear that first cone. And we're gonna stay in the slow ride. So you're gonna just keep like you're over there in exercise 2, but you're just going to turn the bars. Now you can counter a little bit, like you can move your weight over onto the right side if you're turning left, and you can kind of offset the bike a little bit from yourself, but you don't want to lean the bike at all, because we're imagining that we're on dirt or an unstable surface, and we can't lean it. Now I've leaned my bike on unstable surfaces and dumped it, and I'm sure you have too. So that's what this exercise is going to help you with. It's also going to help you with one of the most common occurrences of an accident, which is turning wide on the right-hand turn. So you take a right-hand turn at an intersection and you go wide on it. What happens is you're in the lane of the oncoming traffic when you do that. And that's where a lot of times you're not looking, first where you go, so there could be a car approaching as you're making that turn, and by the time you look, you're right in front of that car. And that's one of those situations where, wouldn't it be great if I had some options, right? Wouldn't it be great if I could do a right-hand turn 90 degrees straight up, looking where I'm going first, and not go into an oncoming car? Because a lot of times people think they don't have another choice. Well, you put yourself in a position of not having another choice because you went into the other lane, didn't look first to see that the car was there, and the car doesn't know what you're doing, especially if you don't know what you're doing. The car is not going to know what you're doing. And that's one of those situations where you say, I didn't have a choice. So we're going to give you a choice here. This is an option to put in your tool belt so that you know what you're doing on the road, you're confident with it, and you can pull out of and into tight spaces too. And I use exercise 4 all the time. If we're at a gas station or in a parking spot where it's tight in front of my bike, I don't feel comfortable backing up my bike, right? So I'm not one of those people that just relies on backing my bike up and getting it into position to go forward. I only want to make sure I have enough clearance, about 7 feet, 5 feet of clearance, and then I can just turn my wheel and get out of the way and not hit whatever that obstacle is. And I can even go into a U-turn and get myself out of a parking spot if I need to. So these are things that will help not only me, because I don't like to feel, or I don't feel comfortable backing up my bike, but for shorter riders who can't touch all that well, backing your bike up is impossible. So why not have another option to put in your tool belt? Why not be able to just go forward all the time? And that way you can do a U-turn or you can do a right-hand turn from a stop with your bars turned and get out of a situation where there's an obstacle in front of you. It's really fun to be able to do that too. So we're going to get started. I'm going to do some of these drills and demonstrate. First gear, cover the rear brake, bring the preload up, and we're going to be doing left-hand turns first. I'm going to be dragging the rear brake. So this is just the initial way to do this exercise. You can even start over to the right to take the left-hand turn if you feel more comfortable with that, or start from the middle. And we're going to roll right through. roll right through again, dragging the rear brake. Geez, I thought I cleared it. So this time I'm going to drag the rear brake again. Not turning my handlebars far enough. I'm going to drag the rear brake again. I'm going to scoot up in my seat a little bit, and I'm going to lean forward because that tends to help me. Okay, so now I'm going to do this. Am I dragging the rear brake again so you can be over here? Okay. That's the first time I got it right? All right, here I go. I moved up and I leaned forward that time, so it gives me a little more control. Takes a lot of discipline to not look at that cone. So you don't get to see whether you hit the cone until after you've done the exercise. So practice exercise 4. Let me know how you're doing. Put in the comments that you're working on exercise 4. Let me know when you can level up the drills. Sometimes these drills take a little while before you can level them up, but you're never going to get bored if you're constantly leveling your drills up and you're making it a little bit more challenging each time you do it. So you can always add in some element of challenge to all of these exercises to make them just a little bit more difficult, where you have to employ more refinement of the skill. So more refinement of the clutch work, more refinement of using your rear brake, more refinement of head and eyes, more refinement of turning your wheel into a full lock. All those things will help you become masterful at maneuvering your bike at slow speeds, which will then help you fear your motorcycle less so you can enjoy the experience of motorcycling more. It's really what we're working on is this clutch control here. We're trying to get where we have this dexterity with our clutch, because we're going to be doing this a lot in all the exercises that we do. So we're working right inside this area the whole time. So you can see it brings the bike forward. If I were to let it into 2, I would take off, but in 1, it just grabs. In 0, I can kind of roll backwards. I can rest myself. But at 1, it's going to engage. So that's the point that we want to get really familiar with, and why we do all these exercises, really to learn this clutch control right here. So you can learn this clutch control in exercise 1, 2, and 3, and that's smooth stops and starts, the slow ride, and trust and believe. And you can stay on those exercises until you really feel confident with your clutch control, going slow and dragging the rear brake and allowing the bike to move forward at 1 to 2 miles an hour in the friction zone. Once you get past at that and you feel like you've got that down, then we're going to move on to exercise 4. So here we go.